Hey, do you got me still?
Yeah, you coming in?
Hey gang, how's it going today? So today we're going to talk about the Talkpod A36 Plus GMRS radio. Now, to be honest, I'm not a radio expert by any stretch of imagination, but Talkpod had reached out to me and asked me if I'd take a look at their GMRS radio. And of course, I said, why not? Let's see what you got. Now, being that I'm not a radio expert, I am been going through the process of learning about these things. I am familiar with CB radios because I was a trucker, and that was a form of communication out on the road. And the other thing I was familiar with was the small walkie-talkies I'd pick up from Walmart or a sporting goods store. So learning about GMRS, which is General Mobile Radio Service radios, was a little bit different beast. So I'm going to go ahead and let's take a look at what the Talkpod sends in the box. Alright guys, so this is what the box looks like. Top of the box is GMRS Portable Transceiver, VHF, UHF, FM, AM, airband, multibands. Designed for general mobile radio service operation. And this compact package is big on performance. And then as you go to open up, welcome to the world of GMRS communication. Anyways, so when you open up the box, of course, it comes with the radio. The radio is not connected to the antenna. It's a removable antenna. So the antenna is in the box. Also in the box is your charging port. You can see there's 3 connecting points here that match 3 connecting points on the radio. The 2 slide together and it just plugs into the wall. Right now there's a green light on. When the green light is orange, it needs to be charged, or it is charging. When the green light is on, it's fully charged. Another way to charge the Talkpod A36 Plus is with a wall charger, USB, and it comes with a USB cord with a C port, so USB to C. And on the radio itself, right on the very bottom, you can see there is a C port connection. So that could be handy. One, if you're traveling and you're at maybe at a hotel or friend's house or wherever and you need to charge it, you could use a wall charger. But you could also use this charger in your vehicle. Just plug into the USB charging port in your vehicle and plug the C into the radio and you're good to go. Another thing that comes with it is this cord here. It's USB and it has this funny connector on the other side. Now this is to plug into a computer so you can do different programming to the radio. As my viewers know, I do not own a computer, so I do not know how this works and may never know how this works. Now the Talkpod, there is a way you can do some basic manual programming through this green button over here. They'll bring you to a menu button and you can go through, I believe there's like 50 different things that you can program on this. So you can do some basic programming by hitting that menu button and then going through the different features. So then you can see the clip on there. The clip is separate in the package, so you can mount that on. Then there's also a strap that comes in the package, and that strap goes into this hole right here. And you can then have a strap, so you can either have the strap or the clip or both. And it also comes with a basic, very basic manual. So that's what comes in the box. Alright guys, so the GMRS radio, General Mobile Radio Service, does require an FCC license. Now, you do not need a license to own the radio. You do not need a license to turn the radio on and listen to it. You do, however, need an FCC license to hit the call button or hit the push to talk button and transmit. So, how do you get your FCC license? So once you go to the FCC site, you go to GMRS part of the FCC site. You'll fill out an application. Then you'll pay a $35 fee. You'll be assigned your GMRS license, and you'll receive a call number. Now that call number, my call number I have taped to the bottom of this, which is WSBS 505. That is required to hit the push to talk button. So again, pretty simple. To operate, to transmit, you need a call number, and you get that call number by obtaining your GMRS license through the FCC. There is no test required. It's just a matter of filling out the application, paying the $35. That $35 covers you and your immediate family for 10 years. So it does take care of you for a long time. So once you have your call number and your FCC license, you're good for 10 years. Alright guys, so I'm going to talk about how I have my Talkpod A36 Plus set up. Now you can do some programming, like I said, through this green button down here. There's like 50 or 52 different settings that you can manipulate through the menu and your scroll button and your number buttons. So I'll just explain how I have my Talkpod set up. Okay, so this is the on, off, and volume button. Now you can see a little orange button up here. This orange button, if I hit it,
the current time is 10:34 a.m. Eastern Daylight
it pulls
Time.
up my local NOAA station, weather station.
Michigan. West of today, cloudy.
Now there's 10 different stations. I have it programmed to pick up my local station, but if I'm not in the area, I'm able to hit the up and down button, and I can scroll through the 10 different channels to find which one I can pick up and get the local weather. So there's that.
To 10 miles per hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Friday night.
And then to turn the NOAA off,
After midnight.
I just hit that top button again. So that's one of the ways I have my radio programmed. The other thing I have is on the screen you can see there's two different channel settings or frequencies. Now, I've got it set so both the top and bottom screen are GMRS channels. There is a VFO frequency setting on here. I don't know how that works. I don't know much about it. So I took, and my two choices were VFO or channels, and I decided to go with channel on both top and bottom screen. I might change that later as I learn more about the GMRS radio, because as I said before, I am no expert on these radios. So the next thing that I will talk about is how I have my Talkpod set up for my push to talk buttons. This big button here is push to talk, and that'll operate my top channels. The second button, if I push that, that'll operate my bottom channels. And then there's a third button on here. If I push that, it'll activate FM radio, and I can also scroll through my FM radio frequencies by the up and down buttons. So that is how I have my Talkpod set up. So when you have your FCC license and your call number, at that point you are licensed and legal to hit the push to talk button and have conversations with other people with GMRS radios in your area, or maybe even outside of your area if you're able to get onto repeater towers. But you do need your call number to have a conversation on your GMS radio. So keep that in mind. You need to go through the FCC and get your GMRS license and receive a call number. Okay, so earlier I talked about having to have your FCC and your call number to be able to push the push to talk buttons. Now, what is required when you hit this push to talk button, you need to announce your call number. So I would basically announce WSBS 505 and then continue my transmission. So you can start off with it, or you end your sentences with your call number. Now, if you're having a long conversation, you don't have to end every sentence using your call number, but you do have to announce your call number at least once every 15 minutes. So that's why you need to have that call number to be able to hit this push to talk button. All right, so the other thing you might be thinking to yourself is, why would you need a GMRS radio when you could go to Walmart or your local sporting goods store and get a little walkie-talkie or an FRS radio? So the reason is these are more powerful radio. Now, just like the FRS radio, the smaller radios that you pick up at Walmart or your local sporting goods store, it is a line of sight radio communication. So that means you need to be able to see who you're communicating with. Now, it's not totally limited to who you can see, as long as, like, maybe you have somebody out 2 or 3 miles or more. You may not be able to see them, but there's no obstruction between you or them. So I've already done a little bit of basic testing with this GMRS radio. My son was out about 2, maybe 2, I think it was closer to 2.5 miles. He was up on a hill, I was down in a valley, and we were able to communicate. And then we were out in the woods, we were about a 1/2 mile apart with a small hill between us and thick forest, and we were able to communicate in that situation too. But I will do a separate video where we're going to test out what kind of distances we can get in different conditions as far as wooded and non-wooded areas. So be looking for that video where we actually give this thing a test and bring you guys along. Alright, so what are some examples where the Talkpod A36 Plus could come in handy? Being a GMRS radio, it has more power output than a walkie-talkie that you pick up from Walmart or a sporting goods store. And being that you can have greater distances, if you're out hunting with some buddies and you have some distance between you, this would be a good radio. Like, I go rabbit hunting with some guys, this might be a good radio for us out rabbit hunting. Bear hunters, they cover some ground and can be apart from each other quite a ways. So GMRS radio, having greater power than the walkie-talkie, might be a good radio for the bear hunters. In the equestrian world, if you're out trail riding or you're doing some pack horsing for, or, you know, going into hunting areas, that would be another example where the radio would come in handy. Fishing, remember, line of sight, so you could be away from your buddies who are out fishing, and or maybe you're out at the campsite and your buddies are out fishing, you want to holler them that dinner's ready, and they're a couple miles down the lake. Remember, line of sight, this might be a good example for that situation. So there's many areas where the GMRS radio with its extra power compared to a walkie-talkie might come in handy. Alright guys, thanks for coming along, taking a look at the Talkpod A36 Plus GMRS radio. Be looking for the video where we go in the field and really give this thing a test. Alright guys, thanks for coming along. I really appreciate it. Remember, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.